Hi everybody, my name is Sandy Narina. Thanks for listening to episode 39 of the Vortex Apologetic podcast.
Welcome to the Vortex Apologetic, where substance reigns over mindless entertainment. Because biblical truth matters in a profound, timely, and urgent way in a lost and dying world.
I can't imagine just what you have fathomed and where.
And now, introducing your humble servants in Jesus Christ, Ricardo, aka Beef, Arenas, and Jeff, the Brain, Claiborne.
Alright.
There he goes. I see the little dot here.
Yeah, and this is kind of like a new thing, so it's kind of weird when you press the...
Yeah, why don't we have sign that says on the air instead of a little dot that, just...
That would probably make a difference, huh? 'Cause sometimes
Yeah.
we're hesitant to look at...
I don't know, I feel oppressed when it comes to that.
It's, you know what, there's some sort of an agenda going on here with these iPhone applications.
I don't know, I think it's just discriminatory.
That white privilege. Oh, wait a minute.
No.
That's not white privilege this time, right?
That rich radio privilege. That's what.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, that Rush Limbaugh privilege. Anyway,
There you go.
Yeah.
How are you doing, my brother?
Doing good, doing good, man.
I know we're both, as we were, greeting each other.
Yeah, suffering.
We're suffering through colds
suffering
here.
the ravages of a microscopic invader.
Trying to tear us down.
Yes. A micro in Star Trek.
Yes, the micro, of
I've been
course.
watching a lot of Star Trek lately.
Oh, that's why you said we watch
some
Star
time
Trek on that text.
Make it so, number one.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I guess I was supposed to. Yep. Hey, brother, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right.
What's up, my
Good,
man?
good.
Carry on.
All right.
Awesome.
The coffee's arrived.
Brother Rico and the coffee's in here, so we are smiling.
So anyway, I'm supposed to continue with my testimony.
That's right.
And we left off when I was in the Philippines.
In the Philippines.
So, made a couple of deployments to the Philippines. First deployment, spent a lot of times at Servicemen Center's Overseas Servicemen Center for Christian Servicemen Center. I was a Christian at the time, so I wasn't out drinking with the boys. So I spent time there on the first deployment. But on the first deployment, we were out at Seymour. I was on the USS Tripoli, for all you Tripoli sailors out there, shipmates. We had a lot of different countries all over Southeast Asia. And then a year later, we went on another deployment, same ship, but it was an old ship. It was an old Vietnam era boiler ship. The boiler engine combo.
Yeah.
Today they have the turbos. I mean, they have the turbine engines. And of course, nuclear. But back then, it was when I was on it. It was steam driven. Steam drove the engine.
Right.
Yeah.
A little different.
almost World War II vintage.
Yeah, sure.
But. So that was interesting to be on a ship like that. But we went to the Philippines, and because it was an old plant like that on the ship, we had some problems with the boilers, had problems with the engines, and
So there was constant maintenance, I'm assuming.
a lot of maintenance going on. And so we ended up spending a lot of time in the Philippines because of repairs that had to be done on the ship. I think that was God's divine providence.
Yeah.
I was at the Servicemen Center one evening, and we were in an upper room, and we were eating a meal together. Had a Navy SEAL there that was a Christian, and he shared some things that was just really amazing. Never seen a Navy SEAL cry before, but God really touched his heart,
Yeah.
But at any rate, I was looking down outside the window from where we were sitting, and I'm looking at people living literally in cardboard box homes that
Okay.
they had made in the backside of I guess an alleyway because it was between the building and a river that separated the base from along the Pole City. All you sailors know exactly what I'm talking about, and no, don't say what I'm thinking you're going to say. So, if you were in the Navy and you spent time in the Philippines, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So anyway, so I'm looking at this and I'm going, what's wrong with this picture? Something's not right. You know? Well, the pizza's arrived.
Pizza's here now.
This is going to be a good night.
It's going to be a great night.
So anyway, I'm looking down and I'm thinking, something's not right. I'm sitting here as a Christian,
Yeah.
having a nice meal in a nice setting, looking down at people
Yeah.
living in cardboard boxes. Now today, if I want to do that, all I got to do is go to L.A., but or San Francisco.
Yeah.
But
Downtown San Diego.
Downtown
certain parts
that's
of
true.
San Diego as well. Yeah. But that struck me.
Yeah.
So I decided, okay, I'm going to go find a local church to be involved with while I'm here, and and get involved with the Filipino people and their ministry to their people, because that's the only way I knew how to make a connection with the people that I saw were suffering.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was warned. Now this is something for you folks that go into ministry. I was warned by staff at the Surgeon Center, no, don't go do that, because all those churches are looking for is your money. They just want your money. Now, I think the reason they said that is because as soon as a sailor went into port in the Philippines, he was super rich because of the exchange rate.
Yeah, right.
And, all you got bombarded with people wanting to sell you things and stuff, I mean, it was just, you were the rich guy in town and everybody was looking for your money. And he kind of had the idea that the churches were like that too. I didn't care. I went down the street, found a church that, come to find out, some of the other Marines and sailors that were stationed out there were going to, a few of them, Alangapo Bible Baptist Church, Pastor O'Bara, and went into that church, and a friend of mine who I knew that was in the Navy, and I knew a lot of Marines that were there as well, introduced me to my future wife. The moment I walked into that church, she was practicing the piano, trying to learn how to play the piano. I met her, and he liked her and was trying to court her. I met her and knew the moment I met her that she was the woman that God had for me. I don't know how I knew, but I knew.
That's awesome.
And this is after I told the Lord, I'll stay a bachelor if that's what you want me to do. Just a month earlier.
Yeah.
So once I met Marie, I started to pursue her. Boy, that was a challenge. She had like six or seven guys pursuing her, both Filipino nationals and
A little competition,
and
huh?
sailors and Marines. I mean, she was apparently quite the catch. So, but I knew that God had put her in my life.
Yeah.
Pursued her. Long story short, I'd try to take her out on a date, and half the church would show up. They would escort her. So there was no such thing as getting alone with Marie, right?
Yeah.
So this was a real courting situation, like you'd probably have in the Middle East back in Christ's time.
That's right. That's right.
Back in the time of Christ. But at any rate, asked her 3 times to marry me while I was there. 3 times she said no.
Denied.
Yep. Because she was confused. Because she had so many people pursuing her.
Yeah.
And she had a lot of things going on in her life that she was trying to sort out. The situation with her family I mentioned in the previous podcast and so forth. And so the ship, we were ending our deployment. The ship was going back to San Diego. So I got on board ship. We start heading out. Marie decides she's going to pray, because she missed me once I left. And she went to her pastor and said, I miss him. I don't know what to do. He said, well, pray. God can do anything. So she prayed, and the ship broke.
No way.
And we had to go back to the Philippines. And here's her prayer. She said, bring him back in 3 days, I'll marry him. We got a day out. The ship broke. A day later, we were back in port. That day, I was back at the church. She's walking up to the church. Pastor Rivera, bless his heart, he was a great man of God, was at the doorway of the church. By the way, I had to ask her pastor for her hand in marriage to get approval. I had to get approval from her pastor.
Wow.
Not her dad, her pastor. So, and he gave me approval. But he's at the door. Marie's walking up to the church. So he says, hey, Marie, guess who's here? And she's going, oh, pastor, don't kid with me. I miss him too much already. She turns the corner, looks in, hears my voice, sees me, and totally freaks out. And the pastor's like, you can't take back your word. You got to marry him now.
That's it. Yeah.
And so it all started from there.
That's it, huh?
And the next podcast, I'll talk about things God did early in our marriage that were just absolutely amazing.
And before we move on, how many years married now?
We're 34 years, 35 coming up in a month.
Wow, praise the Lord.
Yeah.
You can count that high?
Well, there's a limit. I can't go much past that.
Okay.
It took a lot of learning for me to get up that high. Yeah.
So when you get to that point, are you going to start at 1 then times 2?
Well,
Times 2.
After 4 years, I made it to the 6th grade. After being in the 5th grade for 4 years, I made it to 6th grade. I was able to count to 35.
I wasn't trying to be mean. I know where you came from.
Well, you know that's holy ground, right?
Yeah.
You know why Tennessee is holy ground? Especially rural Tennessee, right?
Okay.
Everybody goes barefooted.
Wow.
And God told Moses, "This is holy ground.
This is holy ground,
take your feet off. Take your shoes off. Take your feet off. Take your shoes off. This is holy ground." And everybody goes barefoot in Tennessee. That means it's holy ground.
Nice.
And my daughters and my son keep telling me, "Dad, stop telling the corny jokes." No, I don't listen to them. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, we usually just tell Mr. Claiborne, just don't quit his day job.
Please.
It's God's providence. It's God's providence.
But let's just bring it down to this: is where the testimony is now. God's divine appointments.
Amen.
Do not miss God's divine appointments. Don't try to explain them away. Just accept them, and God will do His work from there.
Amen.
So
Amen.
now you had some things that you wanted
Yeah,
to
well, shifting gears here, and something I had mentioned to you, and kind of in passing, as we saw each other a day or so ago. And yes, this was in regards to a poll that was posted, and there was a question to this poll as it was being done. And here, let me bring it up. The question is, this is posted by a gentleman, his name is Costi Hin, and yes, that is a hin, as in, is it
H-I-N-N?
Yeah, H-I-N-N, as in a
Benny.
family member of Benny Hinn.
Benny, okay, yeah.
He's Reformed. He has a great testimony, by the way, so I encourage people to look him up.
So he's not. So don't get
Don't
confused.
get
between
confused.
him
Don't
and-
think it's something
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
Benny Hinn related. Not
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Okay.
He's a great teacher, Costi himself, and he pastors a church just up north.
All right.
And the question to the poll was: is it biblical for a man who is able-bodied and married with children to be a stay-at-home dad while his wife goes to work as primary provider? So let me give you a little bit of some of the responses, or at least percentages-wise. 50% of the people that voted on the poll say yes. 49% said no. and 36% said it depends. So, I wanted to bring up, I guess, that question into this podcast and ask my brother Jeff, the brain / girl thinker, what his thought was on that question to that poll.
Every time you call me the brain, I've got a reputation to live up to now. This is tough, you know.
Well, and not only that, trail thinker. I mean, it's gonna make you think. So either way, you have to use your brain.
I do hit the trail, and I do think. My last big hike was 5.5 days in the high Sierras. We hit almost 12,000 foot elevation.
Wow.
5 days in the wilderness. No contact with the outside world. It was blessed. But anyway,
I bet. Anytime you can get away, do it.
I have a book I want to recommend, which I think we're going to do in this men's study.
Okay.
This coming year. It's called Federal Headship. Douglas Wilson. So he's a Reformed Presbyterian pastor.
Mm-hmm.
A man I have a lot of respect for. Learn a lot from him. And I'm going to give him credit for the answer I'm going to give.
All right, I like that.
When God created man, first you got to believe God created man and not some random process. By the way, the universe can't create itself because it has to first exist to create itself, and it can't first exist to create itself unless it first creates itself. Big problem.
Big problem. I was going to say big problem right there, yeah.
Just wind that back and play it about 3 times. You'll start to get it.
Yeah,
so anyway.
exactly. You can have some people thinking that, for sure.
So anyway, and some Jeff logic. So basically, I don't believe it's possible for the universe to exist without God.
Amen.
Okay, so we'll just start there. And I don't question God when he tells us something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to call God a liar. And so I'm going to take Genesis the way it's written. And I'm not going to try to, explain it away one way or the other. I've looked at the other theories on Genesis. I've pretty much rejected them. I'm going with Genesis means what it says and says what it means. Mm-hmm. Now, God made man. He made Adam. He breathed into him, which is unique because he didn't do that with the animals. And he breathed life into him, made him in his image. Mm-hmm. That means that Adam received the communicable attributes of God. What are communicable attributes of God? Those are attributes of God that he shares with man. Mm-hmm. Love, hate, in other words, emotions like mm-hmm. that. Emotions that require intelligence.
Right.
Okay. The ability to think is to reason mm-hmm. is a communicable attribute of God. Things of that nature. Those are communicable attributes of God. If you ever want to look them up, just go to look up communicable attributes of God, mm-hmm. and just do a search engine on it, and you'll get them. Or get Grudem's systematic theology. He has them in there. Mm-hmm. That's being made in the image of God. Right. Also, he made man to rule over a certain portion of creation, mm-hmm. mainly the earth.
Right.
Now, that was a command of God to man. So he made Adam with rulership and with communicable attributes of God. That's the image of being made in the image of God. Then, when he made the animals, he made them male and female mm-hmm. together. Right. When he made man, he just made male. But he said it's not good that man be alone. Why? Because he's incomplete without his partner, mm-hmm. right? Without Eve, without the female. Eve, because she's the mother of all living. That's where Eve comes from. But he called her woman, mm-hmm. because she came out of man. She came out of him. God took a rib, made Eve. We know what's written in Genesis. Now, they're equal in attribute. They both have the communicable attributes of God. They both have a sense of rulership, but the man was made first, so he has the higher responsibility and the higher position when it comes to the family unit.
Right.
Between him and Eve.
So it's not a matter of value, but of order.
It's not a matter of equality or value. They're equal. They're both they're both valuable. But God put Adam in the position of responsibility. Mm-hmm. Ladies, you don't want that position.
Right.
Because he's also responsible for what Eve does. Mm-hmm. Ladies, when you go against your husband and you go out and do something, and it creates problems in the family, it creates an issue, maybe debt or some other issue in the family, God's making your husband responsible for what you did. Mm-hmm. You see, right. So you don't want that position, ladies. Right. Because when it comes to a covenantal responsibility, Adam has the federal headship. Federal meaning covenant. Mm-hmm. That's what the word originally meant. It's an old Latin word. He has the covenantal headship over the family, which means God's making him responsible. Mm-hmm. Now, Eve is going to be personally responsible for her actions to God, a personal responsibility. But Adam has a covenant responsibility as the head of the family. Okay, now I'm getting to the answer to the question. So, when Eve ate of the fruit, God made Adam responsible for that. But wait, Adam didn't do it yet. Even before he ate the fruit, he was responsible? Yes, because he was the head of the family. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. God made him responsible. So if you're jealous because God made your husband the head of the family, don't be. He's the one that's taking the impact. Right. You see? And it's because God set up that unit. Now, going to the question of provider. Mm-hmm. The man is the provider. The man is designed to be able to go out into the world and handle the abuse that the world's going to give him, because that's the way God made man. We're made to handle abuse. And you go into a workplace, you're going to get abuse. You go into the world to try and make a living. It's a dog-eat-dog, cruel place. The man is going to take abuse, right? The man is to protect his wife from that. Now, the headship of the man doesn't extend to anybody else's family. He doesn't have authority over anybody else's wife, anybody else's daughter, and he doesn't have authority over, a pastor has a type of authority, but it's a different authority than the headship of the family. Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying? Right. That man is the priest of his family. He's to teach his family. So why does God make Adam responsible? He was supposed to teach Eve. Right. He was supposed to help Eve understand and train her not to do that. Did he do his job? I don't know. The Bible doesn't say.
It doesn't say.
But he's still responsible.
Right. But he was, like you say, he was made responsible for it.
He was made responsible. So, when our wife goes out and works and we're sitting at home, God makes us responsible for what she does at work. Mm-hmm. God makes the man responsible for that paycheck she's bringing in. Mm-hmm. Now, understand there are circumstances. We live in a world where circumstances can bring that about, because maybe he's trying to find work and he can't find work, but she can. Right. Okay. Well, Proverbs 31, the virtuous woman, she's out in the field working. It's okay for a woman to go into the workforce and work. Mm-hmm. There's nothing in the Bible forbidding that. Right. But what the Bible does say is that man is supposed to protect his wife. Right. That means he has to extend his authority into her workplace to protect her if he has to. Mm-hmm. If there's an abusive situation going on in her workplace, that husband better be in the middle of it. Right. Protecting his wife. See what I'm saying? Yes. So he has a responsibility. So I guess I would be in the it depends category, because sometimes circumstances are such that it's beyond the control of the husband and the wife. Sure. But I'm also in the category of the man is responsible regardless.
So right between kind of no and maybe, depends.
I'm going to say...
Because of the responsibility, again, on the man.
I'm going to say it's unbiblical for the man to sit at home while his wife is working.
Right.
But I'm also going to say that sometimes circumstances are such that it's beyond his control.
Right. Let me pitch to you a scenario here then. What if not the excuse, but the woman makes a heck more money than the husband does because, I don't know, better schooling, better, or much better experience at her job where she got to a high position because of the work she put in. And the man does not make enough because he never got to that point, or maybe he didn't have any education, just get the, hard labor jobs which pay you, just minimum wage and things like that.
There's a lot of that today because schools are designed in such a way that women flourish in school and men don't. It's the way education is designed today. It's not conducive to boys or men. It's more conducive to women.
Right.
So women rise higher. Also, affirmative action and things like that give women more advantage when it comes to that. Women are able to sit in the classroom and listen more than boys are, especially when you watch at high school. I taught high school. The boys get restless. The girls are attentive.
Right.
Why? There's a difference between male and female.
Just a bit.
Now, guys want to they want to get into stuff. The boys want to wrestle. They want to go explore. They want to hit the trail. They want to ride their bikes. Girls want relationship. They have a classroom is a relational setting. Boys don't always do so well with that. So the bottom line is a lot more women end up with higher degrees and better education these days than men do.
Sure.
And end up making more money. Okay, well that's just the way it is. So it's nothing wrong with both parents working.
Right.
As long as it is understood that the man is made responsible for everything that happens in that household, including the workplace.
Sure.
It doesn't matter if he's making less money.
And understanding that role of man, it helps also because you have situations where even if both are working, and let's say one of them, let's say the woman, for example, happens to get a promotion where that promotion makes money to cover both salaries, and that way the husband in this case can stay at home and maybe homeschool their children, that they can do a biblical type of homeschooling compared to the public school system, curriculum. There's scenarios like that, or vice versa, and it allows a woman to stay home with their children. And
here's what's going to happen. I'm just going to tell you. All of the responsibility for providing financially for that family is landing on the wife.
Sure.
God did not design her
to
take that kind of pressure. He designed her to be more nurturing, more relational, more emotional. Nothing wrong with those things. Those are gifts of God. Those are great assets and benefits to the family. He didn't design her to fight the battle in the workplace alone. See what I'm saying? So, in my mind, that man is abdicate. He's skirting out of his responsibility.
Amen.
And he's trying to the role reversal. He's trying to be the nurturing mother while she's trying to be the providing father.
Right.
And it's a reversal of the role that God designed it originally in Genesis. And so what happens in those cases, you will begin to see stress and pressure come into that marriage.
Yeah.
That should not be there. you're going to see, because here's the thing. God told Eve that she would have a desire for Adam.
Right.
That means she'd have a desire to rule over him.
Yes.
Adam, he told Adam, you're going to have, can't remember the wording, but basically what he told Adam is, she's going to desire to rule over you, and you're going to desire to control her, but it's not going to be a healthy control.
Right.
You wonder where abuse comes from men toward women. That's where it comes from. It comes from the original fall. Adam is going to try to usurp his authority, but he's not going to do it in a loving, cherishing manner.
Right.
He's going to try to do it in a brutal manner. And God told Eve that that's what she would do, and that's what Adam would do as a result of the fall.
Yeah.
And he told both of them, you better watch that. Yeah, Adam, you can't do that. Eve, you can't do that. So I'm saying, but he knows that the natural tendency of human depravity is that the woman's going to try to dominate the man, and the man is going to try through abuse and other things to put the woman in subjection.
Yeah.
And both are wrong. When the fall came, it disrupted the image of God in both. It didn't get rid of the image of God, but the image of God in Adam and Eve was distorted.
Amen.
And that distortion ended a harmony between them because they understood their positions and their roles.
Right.
And when you have those roles coming together, you have a connection that fits perfectly, and it creates a harmony in the marriage, which is an amazing thing. It's the machine, the engine is running, all 8 cylinders are running smoothly. You know what I'm saying? When the fall came, you had rods being thrown to the block, you had cylinders not running right, it's burning oil,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
The engine was not running right. There were some serious problems came in. And we're seeing that in this mentality of role reversal. Well, let the man stay home and nurture the kids while the wife goes out and works.
Right.
The guy is not a good nurturer normally.
Right.
Okay, we're designed to be authoritarian and rule, and the woman typically is not designed to handle the pressure that she's going to be put under. Because, and it's not just the workplace. That's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
I'm talking about it's the combination of the workplace and the home. Because her heart, where's her heart? If she's a good mother and a good wife, it's at home.
Right.
It's with those kids. Her heart is with those kids. I can tell you, I got three grown kids, and my wife is the one that's always asking me, "Did you talk to your daughter today?
Yeah,
Did you
sure.
talk to your son today?"
Sure.
You know, and I'm always going, "Oh yeah, okay, I'll talk with them." You know, I love them. I love talking to them, but I'm trying to conquer stuff. You know.
Yeah.
I want to conquer something.
Yeah.
You know, when we go on a road trip, I want to conquer the road. She wants to have a relationship with the road. Okay? So she has more of a relationship with the kids than I do. That's a woman's heart.
Yeah.
Her heart is not go do battle in the workplace.
Right.
Or go do battle in the battlefield. That's not her heart. That's not how God designed her. I know that goes against our silly nonsense culture in our society that just wants to take everything and flip it up on its head. But deal with it. That's the way God designed this, whether you like it or don't like it. You got to get in your scriptures and start thinking biblically, not thinking through a bunch of pop psychology and sociology
Right.
made up by a bunch of secular humanists that don't have an inkling of what they're talking about when it comes to God's design.
Yeah.
They don't have a clue. But if you want to listen to them and let the chaos come into your family and disrupt it and destroy it. But if you want to have harmony in your family, you better start getting in the scriptures and find out what it says. and these stupid, silly surveys. Oh, because we live in a society of opinions, right? We elect presidents and representatives by popular vote. Well, not by popular vote by president, thank God. It's by state.
That's right.
People don't get that one either. States vote for presidents, not popular vote. But, within a state, you have popular vote for governors and senators and so forth. And we think that's how God does things. Oh, he does it by democracy. No, he doesn't. He's a monarch. He's a ruler. He says, this is how you're supposed to do it. Do it or else. But we can't seem to think that way.
No.
So we want to buck God's rule and say, well, I don't think you got it right, God. I don't think your Bible got it right. We're going to do things our way. Well, how's that working out?
How's that going to work out?
How's that working out for society? How's the divorce rate in America?
Yep.
How's the abuse rate in the home? How many times do cops get called out to domestic violence a night? Per week? It's astronomical, the number of DV calls they go to.
Yeah.
In the summertime, even more.
Oh, it's worse. Yeah. We're coming up on Christmas. It's going to get really bad.
Yeah.
It's going to get really bad between now and January.
Wow.
Why? Because we don't want to pay attention and do the things the way God said do it. We think we're smarter than God. We can do it better than God. We'll go ahead and we'll see how the consequences turn out. We'll see how bad it disrupts and destroys family. Why is suicide rate so high? Because we don't want to do things God's way. We want to do things our way, and then it creates havoc in our life. We need to stop with this nonsense and get back to a scriptural view of society and a view of the family. That's all.
That's it? That's all you got? That's all you got to say about this?
We'll talk more next week.
There you have it, folks. That's the reason why I wanted to bring up this question, because I knew it was going to be huge, And the reason why I put some of those scenarios is because that's the mindset of society, of those so-called Christian men.
Yeah.
That, again, it's the switching of the roles, which becomes disobedience to God.
By the way, every guy in this room right now, and every man listening to this podcast, you need to go to Amazon, get that book, Federal Headship by Doug Wilson.
Amen.
Get the book and read it. I started reading it, and it you talking about getting knocked upside the head. I got knocked up upside the head. We're just reading the first chapter. That book will give you an understanding of your role as a husband and as a father.
Amen. Well, thank you, my brother. Appreciate it. That was a good one.
I'm not mad at anybody, folks. I just get animated.
I love it. But with that said, close us out. Let's get ready for our men's study, because they're looking at us. All right, well, close.
All right, well, remember, keep your mind sharp, your heart pure, and we'll see you in the next podcast.
Yes, catch you on the flip side.
Cue the music.
You have been listening to the Vortex Apologetic Podcast.
Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. We want to thank you for tuning in to listen to the Vortex Apologetic Podcast. It's a blessing to have you. We hope that you continue to enjoy the future episodes and to tune in and share away with others that might be interested. We wanted to thank our families for supporting us, especially our wives, that they put up with us. They allow us to have time to study and spend time in the Word of God, and in return they help us as well and they keep us accountable. It's a blessing to have them in our lives. So we want to especially thank them. Also, we want to just thank our church, friends, and the men's study that we have, that we continue to be encouraged about. We want to thank all these people because they support us, they pray for us, and it's a blessing to have them in our life. Other than that, I hope you continue to enjoy the Vortex Apologetic Podcast. We will talk to you soon. More episodes to come your way. Other than that, I'm out. We're out. God bless you.